tremendous pressure. The bond between our two countries is deep and sincere, and both our nations benefit from a close and honest relationship between our two governments. A strong, prosperous, and vibrant Mexico is in the best interests of the United States and will keep and help keep for a long, long period of time America together. Both of our countries will work together for mutual good, and most importantly, for the mutual good of our people. Mr. President, I want to thank you. It's been a tremendous honor, and I call you a friend. A tremendous respect for the President. We were actually together for quite some time, and I think excellent. I was with, as you know, Senator Sessions and Mayor Giuliani, and we had a tremendous more than an hour. I think really very good. We want what's good for the United States, and the President wants what's good for Mexico. And in sitting down and in talking, we both realize that we've realized this from the beginning, that it's good for both of us. Better for both of us, actually. We did discuss the wall. We didn't discuss payment of the wall. That'll be for a later date. This was a very preliminary meeting. I think it was an excellent meeting. And I think we're very well on our way. A lot of the things I said are very strong, but we have to be strong. We have to say what's happening. There is crime, as you know. There's a lot of crime and there's a lot of problems. But I think together we'll solve those problems. I really believe that the President and I will solve those problems. We will get them solved. Illegal immigration is a problem for Mexico as well as for us. Drugs are a tremendous problem for Mexico as well as us. I mean, it's not a one-way street. And we will work together and we will get those problems solved.
And moments ago, the breaking news that Mexican president tweeted at 6:51 p.m. At the beginning of the conversation with Donald Trump, I made clear that Mexico will not pay for the wall. Fox's campaign, Carl Cameron, is live inside the Phoenix Convention Center. Carl, any response from the Trump campaign yet to that just tweeted tweet from the president of Mexico?
Not at this point, but they have been crowing about how successful their visit was all day, saying that things went very well behind closed doors and things went very well in their sort of joint availability to the press. And now comes this assertion that there is a disconnect on whether they discussed who's going to pay for the wall or not. Now, it may be dancing on the head of a pin in semantics, but what Trump said was we didn't discuss it. And what the president said was, I told him at the beginning of the meeting that Mexico's not going to pay for the wall. There may not have actually been any discussion. That might have been the sum total of the words uttered, and it's entirely possible that they would have moved on by it. But this is going to be the type of grist for the mill that could grind pretty hard on Mr. Trump for the next few hours. The speech tonight is really what all of this afternoon's theater and diplomacy was about, setting up and drawing a spotlight to Trump's now much hyped and twice postponed speech on immigration reform. This is where we're supposed to hear what will happen, who's going to pay for the wall. This is where we're supposed to hear what's going to happen about deportations for the 11 million. What kind of criminals will be kicked out first? What will the second wave be? And when it comes to the otherwise law-abiding undocumented immigrants, what happens to them if they don't want to be legalized or citizenship and therefore have to go back to their home nation and return to the U.S.? These are all unanswered questions, as are the questions about what Trump calls anchor babies and birthright citizenship and a variety of other things where Trump has, over the last few weeks particularly, but even over the last year, occasionally left himself loopholes and signaled with Sean Hannity 2 weeks ago that things might be softening. At the same time, he said, well, we're going to stay by the law and it's still going to be tough but fair. Diplomacy and policy politics later in the evening here in Phoenix, Arizona. Big crowd expected and an awful lot riding on it for Donald Trump. We are now less than 10 weeks from the election and only a few weeks now from the first debates. Greta?
Carl, thank you. And Donald Trump's last-minute trip to Mexico caught everyone by surprise. And today, many are praising Trump for accepting the invitation.
Donald Trump heads south of the border.
I couldn't be more proud that Donald Trump is demonstrating the kind of decisive leader he will be as president.
I think it's very wise for Donald Trump to accept this invitation to sit down, start a dialogue, and I suspect it's going to be very progressive.
This is a great opportunity for a current world leader and a future world leader.
Peña is an individual that we need to have a relationship with.
Former Arizona governor and Donald Trump supporter Governor Jan Brewer goes on the record. Good evening, Governor.
Hello, Greta.
Governor, what do you think about the Donald Trump's quick trip to Mexico to see the President Nieto, number one? And what do you make of the fact that Secretary Hillary Clinton, who has met with him at prior times in her career, did not accept the invitation, at least not so far?
I thought that it was a great decision. He was invited, and he took the opportunity to immediately go down there. I think it showed great leadership. He was very diplomatic and presidential, and that's the Donald Trump that I know. And, of course, everything is preliminary, of course, with what they discussed. But I think this is the beginning of maybe coming to a solution.
What do you make of...
Interesting, Greta.
Go ahead.
I thought it was interesting, Greta. You know, it was about 6 years ago that you and I stood in the desert here, almost to the date, when I was crying out in the wilderness. And here we are today with a guy that is running for president of the United States that's going to solve the solution that I've been crying out in the wilderness for 6 years. We have someone that's going to fight for us and to keep our security for all the people of the United States.
What do you expect Donald Trump to say tonight about the approximately 11 million undocumented people here in the United States? What do you expect to hear from him, and what do you want to hear from him on that issue?
Well, I'm interested absolutely to hear what he was going to do. I do know that he has told us, and I believe in his commitment, that he's going to start the process. It's going to happen with the deportations, with the criminals, the felons, deporting those back, and then going down the line and finding a solution. You know, this is the beginning of what he's promised, and so I'm excited to hear the speech tonight and to see exactly where and how he's do that. But the bottom line, Greta, is that we know that we need our border secured. We know that we can't afford the cartels and the drug traffickers and the human traffickers and the sex trafficking into our country, and we're not going to tolerate it. And Donald Trump understands that issue, and that's why I believe the public is overwhelmingly excited about him.
Okay, Arizona's your state. You're the governor for a number of years. Is it possible to build a wall along the entire Arizona border with Mexico?
It's going to be a solid wall. You know, in my estimation, I'm not a contractor, but I think it might be difficult through the mountains. It might be difficult, but secure our border, build a wall, double fencing, technology, you know, secure our border. It can be done. It's been done in California. We can do it all along the border, some way, somehow. There are means and methods of doing that.
And what are your thoughts about the fact that Secretary Hillary Clinton has not accepted the invitation to go to meet the Mexican president, at least not this time?
Well, it's hard to hear you, but I think you asked me what I thought about Hillary Clinton's what?
Not accepting the invitation today. At least she may later, but not today.
Well, you know, Hillary Clinton is in hiding, obviously. We all know that. She's out there raising money, picking pockets, you know, for herself. We've got another president candidate that out there is talking to the people and sending a message and talking to people.
Governor, thank you very much. And it looks like a lot of excitement in your state behind you. Thank you for joining us, Governor.
Thank you so much.
Okay, viewers, now is your chance to vote at home on Twitter. Was Donald Trump smart to go to Mexico? Tweet yes or no using hashtag Greta, and we'll show you your live Twitter votes throughout the show. And we are less than 2 hours away from Trump's immigration speech, and new polls show Donald Trump is closing the gap with Secretary Clinton. That's next. Plus, Secretary Hillary Clinton didn't stop sending classified information even after she left the State Department. The new evidence coming up. And a brand new Fox News national poll shows Trump closing the gap among registered voters. Secretary Clinton gets 41%. Donald Trump is only 2 points behind Clinton with 39%. Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson gets 9%, and the thought is that takes mostly from Secretary Clinton, that vote. And Green Party candidate Dr. Jill Stein gets 4%. The on-the-record political panel is here from the Washington Post, Aaron Blake, and from Real Clear Politics, A.B. Stoddard. Well, A.B., Secretary Clinton was invited to Mexico, didn't go. Now, she has been to Mexico a number of times. In fact, when she was Secretary of State, I traveled to Mexico and covered and interviewed her there. Nonetheless, the photo op today goes to Donald Trump, right?
Yeah, big day for Donald Trump. He took a risk, and it worked out very well for him.
Except for the tweet from the president that just came out where the president says...
Yeah, no, I was going to get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to give him his props, actually. He took a risk, and he handled it very well. But it's really bad for Donald Trump that a good day ends in him looking like he's been caught in a lie. I don't know if the president of Mexico is lying, but, you know, his signature issue when he speaks to his next rally, and I don't think his immigration speech tonight is going to be in front of a raucous crowd, but when he does that, who's going to pay for the wall, it's going to be a little awkward for him because apparently they discussed it in some way.
Except for one thing, Aaron, is that what Donald Trump said, if I'm correct, he said we didn't discuss who's going to pay for it. And what President Nieto tweeted was this: at the beginning of the conversation with Donald Trump, I made it clear that Mexico will not pay for the wall. Now, you know, if that was the end of the conversation, then yes, indeed, they probably didn't discuss it. I don't know. I mean, and I'm sure that's what Trump's going to say, but I don't know.
Right. It depends on what your definition of a discussion is, or definition of is. Right. You know, it's going to be really interesting to see how Trump answers for this. Is he going to say, you know, they basically are lying about this, he didn't actually say it? You know, this was something that I think you can make an argument that President Peña Nieto had to discuss. This is, Donald Trump has basically threatened to cut off remittances to Mexico in order to force their hand into paying this wall. That could have significant economic implications for Mexico's economy. So the idea that Peña Nieto wouldn't have brought this up during their meeting, I think, would have been conspicuous. So, I wouldn't put it past Donald Trump to totally disagree with what the president just said here and really offer a totally different version of events.
All right, well, we're standing by. He's going to have his big immigration speech tonight. Of course, it's going to air live here on Fox News Channel. But the new Fox News polls, Donald Trump is only 2 points behind Hillary Clinton. And Gary Johnson has 9 points. That's thought to steal from Clinton.
You know, I thought the race would tighten up. She was having a real honeymoon after the convention for a long time, and the news about her sort of ludicrous defiance over the foundation, the fact that all these ed boards across the country are asking, and Democratic lawmakers are asking on the record for the foundation to be neutralized in some way, folded into another group, distanced from the Clintons. Donations need to stop today, not if she wins. Really, I think is going to harm her. And I think that if you look at the Gary Johnson factor, and if Evan McMullin his vote grows, and Jill Stein's, Trump doesn't have to get to 50% in a five-way race or four-way race, so he can actually really make it over the top if those candidates, the spoiler candidates, do well and her numbers continue to decline.
All right, well, never enough time. Sorry, Aaron, AB, we got to go. And let's keep those Twitter votes coming. Was Donald Trump smart to go to Mexico? Tweet yes or no using hashtag Greta. And Donald Trump has said Mexico will pay for his border wall, but the president of Mexico says no way. So which is it? That's next. Plus, there's more classified information sent over Secretary Hillary Clinton's private email server. And wait until you hear when it was sent. That's coming up. Time and time again, Donald Trump has declared that Mexico will pay for a border wall. But did Trump bring that up with Mexico's President Nieto?
We did discuss the wall. We didn't discuss payment of the wall. That'll be for a later date. This was a very preliminary meeting. I think it was an excellent meeting. And I think we're very well on our way. A lot of the things I said are very strong, but we have to be strong. We have to say what's happening. There is crime, as you know. There's a lot of crime and there's a lot of problems. But I think together we'll solve those problems. I really believe that the president and I will solve those problems. We will get them solved. Illegal immigration is a problem for Mexico as well as for us. Drugs are a tremendous problem for Mexico as well as us. I mean, it's not a one-way street. And we will work together and we will get those problems solved.